Thanks for sending your question. Today we're going to be solving the equation that you sent us, and these are the steps on the right that we're going to be using to do that. Let's go ahead and start at step number 1. We're going to get the absolute value by itself. So as you can see, we have a 2 in front of the absolute value that we need to get rid of. So let's go ahead and divide both sides by 2. And on the left we'll get absolute value of x plus 2. And on the right, we'll get 16 over 2, so 8. So we get that the absolute value of x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 8. Step number 1 is complete. Let's go on to step number 2. We're going to separate the absolute value into a plus and minus. So I'm going to take what's inside and keep it inside, but I'm going to go ahead and put a plus or a minus over here next to it. And everything else in the equation will stay the same. Step number 3 says we need to solve for both x's. Since I have a plus and a minus over here, I really have 2 equations. So I'm going to go ahead and separate this into plus x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 8, and minus x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 8. And I'm going to solve for both of these x's. So let's start with the equation on the left. This just ends up being x plus 2 greater than or equal to 8. I can subtract 2 from both sides, and I end up with x is greater than or equal to 6. On the right hand side, I have the negative, so we're going to go ahead and distribute that to the x and the 2. So I get negative x minus 2 is greater than or equal to 8. I'm going to go ahead and add 2 to both sides so that I get negative x is greater than or equal to 10. I want to solve for x, not for negative x, so I have to get rid of this negative. To do that, I have to divide both sides by negative 1. Whenever I do that and I have an inequality, we have a rule that says we have to flip the inequality the other way every time we multiply or divide by a negative. So flipping the inequality the other way, I get x is less than or equal to negative 10. So I've now solved for both x's. Now let's go ahead and graph this on a number line. Since we have x is greater than or equal to 6, I know I'm going to have a bracket at 6, and I'm going to have an arrow pointing towards everything greater than 6. And I also have x is less than or equal to negative 10. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have negative 10 right here. I'm going to have a bracket, and I'm going to have an arrow pointing towards everything less than negative 10. And this will be your final answer for this problem. Thanks again for your question, Lindsay, and I look forward to answering more of your questions using Snap Math in the future.